standards based off of societal or media standards. And beforehand, my physique would have been considered, I wouldn't say perfect, but it was definitely societally attractive. Now I'm changing and I am learning to adjust to the change and to practice what
I'm not specific. If there's one that I like out of all of them, yes, it is some good reggaeton. Bachata. I love me some bachata. I love listening to that music. But when it comes to music in general, I can listen to it all. Country, rap, R&B, hip hop, reggaeton, some Brazilian music.
Like in this yoga class I'm going
right. That's exactly. That's how I feel. Like, and that's why I said I'm trying to watch having unrealistic boundaries, but the reality is that nothing has made me want to get out the house, put it that way. And that's okay. I don't believe in single mixers and all that crap. Like, I just feel like that's just putting a sign on me that says I can't date. I'd rather just meet somebody organically. And I had one in my 20s. I don't know what happened in my 30s. Just all went to hell. But just
my friends and I in our 30s have talked about this. There are just less natural events.
Yeah.
You're not in school anymore. You're not at young professional meetups. You're meeting most people at work, and that gets tricky. So it's just like a
media, you know what I mean? Right. Because all that other stuff that the IG, just because they got better lighting, just because they probably starving themselves, just because, you know what I'm saying? Their circumstances are always different. So you're right. I got to check myself because I find myself getting caught up in that every now and then, just as a single female. And you have to realize it's still the same. It doesn't really matter. It's a dressed up way of showing you on a good day on a highlight, as opposed to everything else. And I've been mostly on
to find your style. You got to find your personality in your writing, and just be unapologetic, be fearless in what you're writing. If you're writing about, your life, you're writing about your feelings, or even if it's just a fictional story, just don't be afraid to push the envelope and push that boundary line of what you're writing.
Off the lights and light a motherfucking candle.
Yeah.
And you know what time it was. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And even the women.
Yes.
Even the women. The women be like, hey, I want this. I'm gonna tell you in so many words. You got to be the man for me. This is what I want. This is what I deserve. Come get it.
Just simple, direct. And that's the thing.
Exactly.
That's what I used to miss about music. But that's why, as far as anything newer school from the 80s, that's why I'm always gonna tell people I love Maxwell, because Maxwell to me was the most vulnerable of male voices without him seeing too out there. I feel like I in a partner or a longtime mate that for sure these are my things. If they're not like this, then I'm not trying to bother with them.
It's a good question. I think they need to be independent. I think they need to have their own goals and dreams, and they need to have their own career. And I just think they need to align with my values and morals and my support my goals, because my career right now, I still need to be very selfish in a way. And I'm still, doing my thing. So I think it's just someone to be supportive, be understanding of your situation, someone that's a go-getter themselves and just aligns with whether it's humor, work ethic, family life, all of that. They're
starting to look at Twitter we ain't trying to do that. So I think now people have learned to just leave me alone, because I'm just the type of person I'm not out here trying to debate nothing. I'm just more I go on there for memes and to watch everybody else's memes and to occasionally stalk a player.
Right.
Ain't nothing worked. I ain't one of them girls. I thank God I'm not blessed with the thought ability, because I'd probably be really in trouble right now. But hey, if I at Mike Scott and he asked me back or said,
or even when his game fell off, I like Mike Scott because he ran some Washington football team fans to fade at the tailgate, and that's what's up. Don't call no grown man the N-word, man. Don't call nobody outside they.
More really kind of yo.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what he was talking about. Oh wow. So I would say him.
Okay. I know you don't, I'm not gonna ask who. I don't need. Put that out there. You don't need to put it out there.
He on Twitter, so his initial J. We're gonna say J for short.
Okay,
that's cool. Yeah, but he's not. Yeah, he ain't on no social media.
That's okay. That's probably a good thing, though.
Right.
Now, how long have you been married to? I was going to ask.
About almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years. Okay. And so,
yeah, almost 4 years.
For someone like me, who's a single gal, who's never even thought about marriage too far ahead, what would you feel like is the advice for those of us who kind of have a slight fear of marriage and commitment? What has it been like for you being newly married, should I say?
I mean, it's been great for me because I am married to someone who has a lot of things in common with me. We both love sports. We both love video games. We're both just chill and funny. We like a lot of the similar things. We're just very relaxed people. Mm-hmm. I can't blame anyone who's not married for having any apprehension about marriage because it's scary. A lot of people get divorced all the time. Divorce rates are high. People marry the wrong person for the wrong reasons. So I get that. I
extremely settled. And I have a problem with it because I know that there's still more for me to do. I have to say it's kind of cloudy, even though I'm starting more and more to be more confident in what my vision is, but I know that still a lot of my fear is blocking it. So what do you feel, envision yourself is going to be a stable, I guess, situation for you by the year's end, or what do you hope to attain by the end of this year?
Oh, by the end of this year? Well, so I have a lot of things that I have coming up that I'm going to be doing with the support of my partner. And he and I have been talking about so many things that we have plans that we're going to do. And we've really just kind of had to wait it out. Like the last 4 or 5 months, we've just had to like wait things out and wait things out and wait things out. So I think just, I have to take things day by day with myself. I hope to see that things are going to be a little bit more stable for everybody by the end of this year. But I honestly, knowing what I know with the cosmos and the astrology, we still have a couple years in this.
Social media, because social media wasn't a thing. But also, like, I am still someone who's just very much go about my business, and I don't need to, like, I tend not to make a big deal about things, even if they are a big deal. Yes. I don't know. That's just the way that I've always been. It might be a big deal to me, but I'm not going to make it a big deal for everybody else. So I think probably that's why it feels like we could hang out and have fun, but it wouldn't be maybe on a deeper connection.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
Because it's just that, like, why would I bring Alina into this? Because it's not her thing, and it's just
right.
So waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to Philly, putting the boat out on the water and, rowing up and down the Schuylkill River all morning, getting ready for school and going to school, having a part-time job after school, waking up doing the next day. So when I got into sports, I think that's where I really clicked with football because it's such a team-oriented sport. And also my dad is a huge football fan. Mm-hmm. So when you would finally have...
We played live music. We traveled everywhere. We were family band and wrote scripts to participate in. We were in the recording studio at a young age, just laying tracks and teaching children music and stuff. But Awakenings for me was an awesome experience because the pole specifically for me just elicits the adult movements that I crave.
Lord, I know. That's why I said, "Woo!" If you see Bethany, well, she'll give her socials at the end. But if you see her do pole, it's art. Okay.
10 years that I've been doing this, and so every single time I walk down my hallway, I remember them and I take in their energy. Especially if I'm on my way out the door to go do a show, I really make sure that every time I take the stage, I'm honoring those who made it possible for me to do that. So.
That's what's up.
That answers your question.
No, that's what's up, because that's why I say, like, to me, I know there's a lot of performers that always talk about they have stage fright, but I know that what you just said, especially if you are a woman of color or Black, you would definitely pull from some source on top of the fact that, you want to do a good performance. But
that was just a head and shoulders thing. So I was a reporter, and I was in the locker room, and I was interviewing him after a game, and the camera guy had flakes and had itchy scalp, and so his camera kept moving around, and we kept being like, "Oh, dude, what?" And that's basically the commercial.
Shut up! Can you find it anywhere? Like it's still running, or is it something you can look up? Possibly.
No, every once in a while, people tell me they see it, so I think it's still around. I can pull it. I can send it at some point. I don't know where.
Yes, after we're done, I'm not in a position where I want to date just by choice. I don't care if it was a pandemic or not. It's just too much stress in my head. I'm a lot to deal with by myself. I'm making myself tired, so I'm not even thinking about it. Not means I never will.
You know, I didn't have 16 years of ballet. I am not a professional costumer, and those were kind of the requisite characteristics when I entered the industry. At this point, that's not at all the case, but at the time, you needed one or the other. Like, I didn't have them. So I just started producing my own show, and then that's how you get gigs, is you hire yourself.
Yeah, you become your own boss, and I respect that. That's why I say, like you said, if there's no lane, you got to make your own. And I'm like, how does she not get dizzy? I'm like, girl, from me whipping her hair around and be like,
well, that was my signature. I was the flip. I think that's on my neck is up now. I'm like, oh my God.
All that years, I know. I'm sorry. Hair was a weapon. I was like,
that's what kind of dancer. You're like, I'm like a rock. That's a flip.
I know. I'm just like, girl, wow. But also, too, the outfits were fun. You know, you guys.
Oh, thank you. That, thankfully, I mean, I do own my credit for that, because that
fun.
I was very into that. It's funny, yeah.
It was very fun. But all right, so we'll move off of that. But I wanted to also ask, because a lot of this is kind of like a typical question, but there are always things that I look back at with my teenage life that kind of were a blur. So if you could look back at your teenage self, what advice would you have given her? And do you feel like you followed it now or even as you got older?
Yes. I mean, I'd be like, trust your gut and appreciate your differences, because I used to not. I wanted to look like everybody else. I had my big nose and, well, didn't say that. I have the original nose of my family, you know, so it's like, I appreciate that so much more now, because it's like, this is,
right,
you know, authenticity.
Yeah.
Which is so sad when I see people changing all that is them, you know, but it's fine, because I think it's whatever makes you
happy, yeah, essentially.
Yeah. And I get it, because I was a young girl and I was like, I hate my nose.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny because you just grow into it. So it's like,
You're right. Yeah, you do, because there's certain things.
And now I'm just like, well, God, I'd rather have that than something that doesn't fit with me.
Right.
But I think there's the friendship part. I think I took some things way too much more serious than they needed to be. Mm-hmm. And really, like, when I look back at all my girlfriends from my teens into my 20s, like, those were actually the truest of friends. They loved you for all different reasons. We didn't even know what. We just connected. It was so authentic.
Right.
You know?
So I think that's probably one of my biggest regrets. The other one is trusting light-skinned men. I'm done. I need me a chocolate man with a beard and a job and a degree and who loves kids.
As soon as I air this link, I know about like 5 light skins on Twitter that are gonna have a problem with that statement.
Like, I've been watching from jump, like the very first Iron Man, and I started to put 2 and 2 together with all of these Marvel films, and I'm like, oh, okay, they planning something.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't following that, but yeah. If you know, you know. But I remember that Twitter blew up when that movie finally dropped, and I just remember saying, like, I had to get off of Twitter because I was the only person that was like feeling like
I had to mute everybody.
Oh yeah, it was hard because then you got people who were mad when who was it, Shady, that broke the ending or something. Something Shady revealed that got everybody ticked on Twitter, and I thought it was for Endgame or maybe it was Game of Thrones.
You're probably talking about Star-Lord when they were at the opportunity of getting the gauntlet off of Thanos, and he asked about Gamora, which he killed. And
that was something that wasn't supposed to be revealed before everybody saw it. I just know people went ape crap on Shady for a while, and they were like, "Why'd he tell the ending?" And I'm like,
Yeah, like shut up,
I'm
fool.
out.
Yeah.
Find a gym that's small, because my gym it's small in a sense that we don't have a ton of members. We have a large space, but we're all super close, and so that's what makes it for me.
Cool. Okay. And lastly, I just want to ask you, since I've pretty much asked everybody on this series, 2020 has been the year from hell for most of, if not all of us. We've obviously been uncomfortable. And we're probably about to go through another quarantine at this point, which should be old hat at this point. How have you gotten through 2020 as a whole?
I have learned to be flexible over my 11 years in teaching. If you're a teacher or you're an educator or you work in a school, you have to learn to be flexible. I have not always been that way. I like to know a schedule, and I like to be prepared. And like I said, I wanted to know the questions that you were going to ask me today.
Dunks, and then everybody is hurt. I don't know what's going on in the training facilities.
Yeah, I'm wondering why they keep switching medical staff. Yeah, I do wonder.
I don't know what's going on. It's like people always seem to be banged up.
Yeah.
Tearing muscles and joints and stuff. And it seems